Hello, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Cool. So typical office hours, I've got nothing planned. I'm here for questions. And now I'm finally set up.
Well, whenever we get around to it, I know that I'm still having issues with the stuff we did yesterday in various ways and various tools. And I'm not sure if everything is where it should be and where I should be looking. And when I do open GitHub Desktop or Visual Studio, I'm not seeing like the files and the code. So anyway.
Okay, why don't you share your screen and we'll go through that.
Start with that? Okay.
Yep. So first and foremost, I would say remove any developer tools and just go into Finder. And so we'll go into Finder, we'll figure out what we have. And once we know where it is, we'll be able to work on it.
Okay, I'm just having trouble getting this window out of the way so I can click on. My windows don't want to behave. They're their own size. Okay, so we'll go into that. And where do you want to start with my Gracehopper one?
Sure. Okay, so it looks like you've got everything in here, the where it needs to be. And that means that you must have been able to get the code base up to date as well. So everything is organized here where it should be.
What about the my site, my personal site, or whatever we're calling it?
That's the folder that you're in. The folder has to be called github.io for it to know that it's your site.
Right. I thought we were creating another folder.
Nope, that's you've got the folder that you need.
Okay, so that's good. Then we'll go back up to careers and code base.
Yep.
And do you need to see each day?
No, you're up to date.
I think, is that what should be in
Yes.
4?
Yeah.
Because I don't see it like, okay. So then in the editor tool, I don't know, GitHub Desktop, maybe it's not set up, so I'm looking in the right columns and windows or whatever, but.
Okay, so if we go over to GitHub Desktop and we click on Gracehopper www2.github.io, oh, click back down in there, up at current rods, yep, and then click on Gracehopper, yep. Okay, and so what this is showing you is the only file that you have changed is so let's move your window over so we can see the whole thing.
There,
yep,
now it's going to behave. Some of them are snapping to where they want to be. Okay.
So what we need to do here is just commit this in. So what we're going to do is down, you see where it says update index.html?
Get out of the way here. I'm sorry. Start coughing. We're all right down there. Okay, yes.
Okay, so go ahead and click in there and say change name. And then your window name, I'm sorry, NAME.
Yeah, we don't want to change main. I wonder.
And then the problem is your window is a little too big. So if you get your mouse up in this corner, in the top right corner, you should be able to get it so it's the diagonal looking one.
Yeah, I've been trying that for several hours and it doesn't want to play. See, it's like, all right, that's a little better, but it still wants to go way down below the screen. For some
Okay,
reason.
I'm gonna request remote control. And you can just hit OK on that or allow. And then hit open system preferences.
Now, if you can make all my windows behave, that would be great.
Click on this little lock down in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
You have to click on it.
Excuse me. Yeah, it's like.
Yep, you got it. and then unlock, and then go ahead and hit this little check mark there.
I want to do this too, because that's been behaving that way.
And then close up at the top. And let's see if I have, do I have control? Yes, I do. Okay. So I'm just going to go up here to the top and, ooh.
Yeah. It's been driving me nuts all day.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is very. Anyway, we'll deal with it and move on.
The problem is that there's a button down at the bottom there that I need access to.
I know, and that's when sometimes during, oh, you have control right now. So sometimes during class when you're telling me, oh, click here and click there, it's like, I can't see it because of that, or there's some other thing like from Zoom that's over it. Or
Yeah, you know what the problem is, I think, is you got your resolution bumped up so big that this is the smallest the window GitHub will let you make this window. And so the problem is that the resolution is blown up so much that I don't think GitHub will let you shrink it down to be any shorter.
Okay, we fix that now and we go on, or?
I mean, I can change the resolution so it's a little.
If you want to, I was just gonna say I could, stop screen sharing and do it and then come back so someone else has a chance.
Well, let me just bump it out one step. Because now what we'll see is we've got that button down at the bottom.
And then I can make it a little bigger with the plus
sign. But now
sign,
we can,
but
you see how like even on the smaller resolution, it won't let me shrink it down anymore.
Yeah,
so I think that's what you're fighting is it won't let you make it any smaller because you've got your resolution blown up so much. Okay, so if we come down here and we hit commit to main.
So I'm going to do that now. Or are you still doing it?
I'm still doing it, but what we did is we just committed it. And so now we've got to push it, right? And so we committed it on your computer. Now we're pushing it up to GitHub.
Okay.
And so now if we go to the internet and go to your URL.
It was just right there. Oh, that one. Okay.
And if we give it a minute, what we will find is your name will pop in here. So do you also need help getting your DNS linked up over at Namecheap?
I thought I did last night, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Go ahead and type in your URL, the domain that you bought. Okay, so I'm gonna go back here just for a minute. So I'm gonna click on, I'm just gonna pop this open a little bit more.
See, that one behaves.
And I'm gonna go to settings, and I'm gonna go down to. Okay, so here's the problem is we don't have our custom domain saved in here yet. So go ahead and type in your domain again. Okay, go ahead and hit save there. Okay, and so we're gonna go back here. I'm gonna refresh the non-custom domain.
There's the Zoom bars in the way.
Okay, and so what happens is now you notice it redirected you to your URL.
I can't see with the Zoom bar here.
Oh,
stupid thing. There. So it redirected me to
your domain, which is good. Now it's just processing, getting all of that set up. So what I would say is, there you go. That's all it took. I just hit the refresh button and it processed. And now it's showing your correct name and you're all set up at your domain.
So is there anything else I should have in my GitHub right now?
Yeah, the one other thing that I'm going to send you off to do is you should go into VSCode.
Okay.
You should open your github.io folder in VSCode.
Okay.
you should change the title tag from my name to your name. Then you're going to go back into GitHub desktop, and you're going to commit in that change and push it. And if you're able to do all of that in about 5 minutes after you push it, you'll notice this tab after you refresh the page won't say Max Matthews anymore. It will have your site name up there. And that means that you're rocking and rolling in VS Code. That means that you are getting comfortable committing and pushing your code in GitHub. And it means that, you know, your site is all set up and you're good to go.
Okay, so when I go into VS Code, I should see what I've been seeing with the folders and files in my index.html and all that. That should be there, right? Because I wasn't seeing that in the GitHub desktop.
So GitHub desktop is only going to show you the changes to your files. So if you haven't changed any of the files, it's not going to show them.
That's not an editor.
Correct. It is just a Git client.
But it's working with VS Code.
Yes.
That, you know, that's part of it. I'm going, where did the files go? I can't see. Oh my God. All right.
So VS Code is both a text editor and a Git client. GitHub desktop is only a Git client.
Okay, so that's where you can sort of air traffic control on the website too. You can see the changes.
Correct.
But the stuff you're really doing is in VS Code, and I will be committing and pushing in VS Code.
You can commit and push in either GitHub desktop or VS Code.
Okay.
It's up to you, whichever one you want to do, whatever one feels more right to you, stick with that one.
Okay, I just, you know, you went through so much last night and all the software and stuff, and you explained it so many times. You're so incredible, but I still was kind of like, I don't even know what highway I'm on anymore. And then I was trying to see like the directory of my files in the desktop one, and it's like, that really clears it like so much. All right, let me go do my homework for you, and
all right.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Just keep in mind that when you're in GitHub desktop, that what you're trying to do is you're trying to commit your changes, right? That's really what the commit is. It's not committing the entire file in, it's committing only the lines that you changed. And that's why GitHub desktop isn't showing you all the files, because it's like, you already committed these. Why would you be in here, you know, if you know, so yeah.
I was wondering why it only showed what I changed. And by the same token, when we're in VS Code, for example, and we save it,
yep,
it's kind of committing.
It's not committing. A save is not a commit.
It's the whole file is saving.
It's saving the whole file, exactly. So Git is like a secondary system, which is why you need to say, I want to add these. I want to add these files to my staging environment, which means I'm getting ready to commit them, and then committing them in is what's taking the changes and actually shoving it into the repository.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah.
I need you on my shoulder, you know, just talking into. All right, I will, you unshared me, right?
I did.
I will mute, and I will.
Who's up next? I see you lurking over there, Latonia. I know you've got a question.
That's so funny. Don't do that to me. I actually do, but I don't want to ask it. So I'm here to listen.
All right. Well, anyone else, feel free to throw out a question.
So I have like a million questions, but that's because I'm really far behind. So I kind of want to wait till the end to also ask my questions, because I feel like I'll lag into everyone who's more caught up than me. So
well, I will give people a minute or two to ask other questions, and if not, I'm coming for you.
Okay.
I just stopped in because my website hasn't gone up yet. Like it's still, yeah, I don't know. I was just finally able to check that thing for HTTPS after I pressed reload. So maybe that takes a while to go through as well once I check that box.
What is your domain?
KyleGilbert.dev.
Yeah, so you get a special extra step, which you've already done, which is .dev domain names require HTTPS.
Right. Yeah, I'd asked that question before, like on Tuesday or Wednesday or something, and yeah.
Yep. And so GitHub by default doesn't have SSL enabled, but because you've checked that, it is now another 24 hours that you have to wait, but it should kick in after that, because when I went to your domain, it gives me the privacy error.
Yes, that's what I've been getting. Yeah.
And if you had the settings wrong at GitHub or at Namecheap, it would give me a like, I don't know what this domain name is error. So the good news is, while you are still getting an error, it is the right error to be getting.
Okay, that's good. I was happy it at least let me check that box. It was grayed out for quite a long time. So yeah, good. Thank you. I guess I will put something in Slack like tomorrow evening if I don't have it by then.
Perfect. Yep.
Thanks.
No problem. And good work. Come on, Latonia, you can ask your question.
I was reaching for the button as you. So I hate to bring this up again, but the exclamation mark tab, it's not working consistently for me. So what I ended up doing is I just copied and pasted the header, and I was like, well, Max wants us to do it all manually anyway. But I just figured, like, what's the issue? And I looked it up and I found that apparently the update did Django HTML instead of just HTML. So that's why the shortcut doesn't work, and I got it to work. But again, it's not consistent. So if it's something I can fix, that'd be great. But if not, I'm not too worried about it.
Can you share your screen and I can show you a little tip?
Sure.
So if you open VSCode, and you click into a let's create a new file, and go ahead and save it first. And when you save it, go ahead and you can put it wherever, and then make sure, whoa, before you do a .html there. Okay, and now when you hit save.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me just put this on the desktop.
Yep. If you click, do you see that little arrow to the right of the desktop drop down?
Right here?
Yep. That might give you a more familiar file browser.
Oh, okay.
Just so you get more control, but you can go ahead and hit save. Okay, and so and then hit OK. And there's that bug lurking in the bottom right. You see where it says Django HTML?
Yep.
If you click on that, you should be able to type in HTML and just hit enter. And now you just told VS Code, stop it, you're being dumb. I went regular HTML. So now when you do your exclamation mark tab, you should get everything that you want.
Okay, so just when I go in, just remember that if I see the Django, go ahead and change it right there.
You got it.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions, or I'm gunning for Bentley? All right, Bentley, you're up.
Okay, well, this is going to be really painful for everyone involved then. So I'm currently still catching up on videos. So I've caught up to, I'm still working on Monday's video. So I'm still like basically a week behind at this point.
Okay.
It also means that I'm still working on finishing the wireframe from last weekend.
Okay.
I'm having, I don't even want to show you it because it's like, it looks like I haven't been doing anything, but I really have been.
It's all right. Do you want to share and I can help you maybe clean up some of the code?
Yeah, I don't want to share, but I will share. let me figure out how.
Well,
to
I
do
mean,
that
here,
again.
before you do, if you feel like you're still making progress on it, I'm not gonna force you to share.
So actually, I'll share because I have a specific question that I'm currently stuck on, and
Okay.
then if we can resolve that, it'll help me further
Perfect.
my work. So.
Sure.
Can you see
Mm-hmm.
my terrible wireframe so far?
Looking good to me.
Yeah, so I'm currently trying to figure out, because obviously this is not where it needs to be, and I need to move it further down the page so that I can add the rest of the missing elements to it.
Okay.
So I'm currently working through, I'm redoing some of the free code camp to like see if like what I need to do that.
Yep.
And this is what I have for like my code for it.
Okay.
It's still pretty basic, but
Yeah, so the one thing I would say is watch your indentation. So when I
Mhm.
first jumped into this, I went, oh, your div class product information is in your featured image. And then I went, oh, but it's not in your featured image. And
right.
that's only because your div on line 26 is just indented a step further than it should be.
This one.
The one,
this
yep, that one. So if you just delete a tab on, yep, and you can also hit Shift tab, and that should move it over.
There we
Okay,
go.
and now it's all lining up. So for me, now I can read this code much more quickly and go, oh, okay, you've got your featured image and your product image. So
Right.
product
Whatever makes
information.
this mess easier, I'm happy to do it.
So the good news is everything else looks pretty clean. The only thing that's jumping out at me is your nav tag. So on line 11, that div should be the div after the nav tag should be moved over. So basically, whenever you have a child, it should be a tab further over. Right. And then
like,
same for the div ID and all of those p tags, all of those should jump over.
I did the wrong thing. Okay, I can just highlight.
Yep.
And Shift tab.
Yep. And then your div on 16 just bump over. And then that div's fine, that nav is fine. So you're okay. Here's something that will actually cause a problem. There's a difference between a head and a header.
Okay.
And so that top tag on line 3 should actually be a head tag.
Okay.
And then you should delete out that tag on 19. And it should actually be moved up to between line 8 and 9. Right. So your head and body are like the two main sections of your page. And the head never goes into the body or vice versa. Okay. Gotcha. And so now indentation wise, you're completely on point. Right. So if I said, what are the children of links? You would easily be able to go, oh, home, shop, and about, because those 3 are indented a level deeper, right? Or if I said, what's in product information, you can easily jump to that. Okay, so back to your image. You are trying to get it further down on the page?
Yeah, so I'm trying to get, well, I was messing with margins while other people were asking questions. So that's why it's currently out of line, but not in the line that I want it to be yet.
So margin is completely the place that you want to be. So if you want to move it further down, you just would increase the value of that margin top. Right,
because that's what so I'm heading in the right direction.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm currently.
One tip that I can show you, if you go back to the browser and right click on the image and hit inspect, you're going to get your dev tools. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, oh, I think I know what your problem is. So margin applies to all 4 sides unless you specifically tell it what side you would like it to apply to.
Okay.
And so
it's
when you hover over that image tag, do you see that like that orange-ish area that's showing up?
yeah.
That's showing you your margin. And
Okay.
so if we go over to the right, like move your mouse over to the right column. Yep, it's see where it says margin 80px. If you double click on the 80 and type in 20 px, you notice how it like live updated for you, and it showed you the margin is now much smaller. That orange area is a little smaller. So if you only wanted to move that down from the top of the page, you could change your margin property to margin dash top.
Okay.
Okay, and now when you hit tab or go over there, if you hover over the image tag again, you see how that orange area is only up at the top. And so now if you change your value to like 200 pixels instead of 20, you'll notice where it is on the page.
Okay, so this is like, I'm looking in the right area for how to get everything lined up with like margins and stuff.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, cool. That's where I currently am at in the material, my current question. So
the good,
great, because I haven't done that much with that because I've tried to get ahead to do what we need to keep up with. So good for you. I'm very impressed.
So the good news is, just to give you a preview, Monday's class is Karen covering like basic JavaScript and variables and stuff like that. There is no homework assignment from Monday's class, I don't believe. But Tuesday, what we do is we start playing around with layout again, and we go over all the basics of like, how do we create our nav bar? And so that will just be reinforcement. Wednesday, we create an entire news website, and we do that using the Bootstrap grid. So you can take all of your Flex hatred and just throw it out the window and try and use grid instead. And then on Thursday, you may want to have that rewatch that class with a cocktail in your hand. It was a little bumpy at the beginning, but by the time we made it to the second half, we got rolling and got the site all set up. So what we do in that class is we buy a domain, which you can use your student stipend for, and then we get the repository set up. The one for site or whatever. Hindsight. That's hindsight. That's the word I was looking for. The one hindsight thing.
2020.
Yes. The one hindsight thing I can tell you is anything in the video that mentions Git Kraken, just skip over it. We end up like jumping ship on Git Kraken and using GitHub Desktop instead. So whenever we open Git Kraken, like skip like 30 minutes in the video to GitHub Desktop, and all of a sudden class will be 10 times better.
Yes. Yeah, you don't want to deal with Git Kraken. It's a bad boy. I know other people have questions, but just to let you know where I'm at, Max. Everything's great, but now it wants me to pull something from somewhere. So when you're ready to deal with that, we can screen share.
Sure, Bentley, are you all set? Do you have any other questions?
I don't want to jump in on anyone.
Yeah, I think I'm good for now. The pointer helps. I'm going to be playing a lot of catch up this weekend, so I'm sure I'll be messaging people with way more questions, but for now that's enough. Thank you.
Perfect. The one thing I'll say is I'm going to be pretty offline tomorrow, but I will catch up on any messages that you leave me on Sunday. So I would either ask questions like in the student channel and have one of the other instructors answer them on Saturday. And then if you want to hit me with a turn of questions on Sunday, I'm happy to go through them. Latonia, the major benefit that I can think of is it tends to lay out your code a little bit better. So for me, it's easier to see the changes to the code that I made in GitHub Desktop than it is for VS Code. With that said, VS Code does have a visual tool where you can see the line changes that are different. But at the end of the day, there isn't really a ton of added value if you like the view that VS Code gives you and you understand what's happening in VS Code when you're clicking the plus button and typing in your commit message and pushing it up. If all of that's working for you in VS Code, then you can throw GitHub Desktop to the wind. The one thing that GitHub Desktop does do a little bit better is it helps you set up your repository. VS Code may help you do that. But I think GitHub Desktop does a little bit better job with the setup of all of that. But I can't say that for sure.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, Carolyn, you're up. You are still muted, but I can see your screen. Carolyn, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Sorry, there we go. Yeah. So I hadn't made changes in the title, but I guess I had added some text, you know, my name and kind of a sort of a job description. And so then I got confused and I was thinking that was the title. So I tried to change it and I said, well, you know, this is already changed. So then like, oh yeah, I got to change the title too. So I probably confused it a bit.
Okay. So right now it's saying you haven't changed anything. That's what no local changes mean.
Well, it's a liar.
So if we go into your code in VS Code, and we look at the title, okay, so that is saved. So let's go to Chrome. And go ahead and just refresh this page. Okay, so we do have a discrepancy, right? That title is still saying my name. So what I believe is happening is let's go back to GitHub Desktop. And you notice in right up here, you see the one with the arrow up and the one with the arrow down.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what that was.
You've got one commit somehow on the server that you need to pull down, and then you've got one commit on your local that you need to push up.
Oh, so I need to pull first.
Yes, and so go ahead and click on pull origin.
All right.
Try again. Okay, so now it pulled, and now you notice you can push. So go ahead and push.
Two pushes. Okay.
Well, a push always takes everything and pushes it up, so you don't need to push 2 times. But now that is pushed up. So if I delay long enough, if you click over in Chrome and click on refresh, okay, hasn't gone through yet. Just give it a minute. So that was the only problem, was that we had to pull, and somehow you had something up on remote that you hadn't pulled down. So
Yeah,
once
and
we pulled it, we were able to push it.
Okay. And you know, that makes logical sense, but I did not want to proceed till I, you know, even
So,
though I'm not affecting anyone else's code.
I
So,
would encourage you, get out of the box, like go, if you think that makes sense to do it, do it. We can always get you out of trouble. Whatever you're going to do is not going to cause your brand new computer to spontaneously combust. I promise
Right.
you.
And I'm not in a repository where I'm messing with other people's code.
Yeah, and the good news is we don't give you access to mess with other people's code.
Right.
So
right.
you
Well,
couldn't even screw it up if you tried.
I don't want to try.
So go ahead and click the refresh button again. And now your name is changed in the title.
Where's the title?
Up in the tab, the name of the tab, it may be behind the Zoom bar.
Oh, yeah, silly Zoom bar or wherever you are. Anyway, yeah, okay. I believe you.
If you just click over here into your Chrome window. So, oh, yep. And then just put your mouse over there and just drag it down on the dark blue area. Move your mouse up a little higher.
I didn't follow.
Just put right there, click and drag. And now you're pulling your Chrome window down.
Right.
And now you should be able to see your website title.
Oh, yeah, okay. And it would have said, okay.
It did say Max Matthews. Now it has your name.
Exactly. And I was just going by what was on the page. So, all right.
So you are officially done with your homework. You have not only bought your domain, wired it all up with GitHub pages, practiced with pushing and pulling, but you got more practice in because you updated it in VSCode, you saved the file, you added the file, you committed the file, and you pushed the file.
But aren't I supposed to make some more changes to the page?
If you'd like to, you can, but the homework assignment is just to get where you are at now.
Oh, wow. I can't believe it. It just fell off my chair.
What I would encourage you to do is stop working on this and switch over to the other homework assignment, which is getting the new site finished.
And where will those files go?
In Google Classroom. You just have to upload them into the classroom.
No, I mean, I got, we've been working on a couple different things.
Oh, I would put it in your My Code folder.
Okay.
And you can just create a new folder in there called News Site.
Okay.
And then you can put all of your files just in News Site.
Okay. So day 4 news site or just news site?
Whatever organization system makes sense to you, as long as it is going in the My Code folder and not in the classroom code base folder.
Right. I stay away from that.
You can call it whatever you want.
And our new site, we're basing it on the e-commerce stuff.
No, you're basing it off of the mock-up that is in Google Classroom.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So I haven't even looked at that stuff yet because I was trying to get my brain around this. All right. You just make everything so easy.
I do my best.
Thank you so much. All right. You unshare me and I'll mute me.
All right. Other questions? Karen, if you're by your computer, I can go through pointing Namecheap at Cloudflare if you want.
Oh, I was just going to send that to you in a message.
Anyone else have questions?
I'm gonna get Nick to turn my belly in.
Okay, Karen, if you're up for it, you can screen share and we can go through that.
Yeah, just give me a second to pull it up here.
Yeah, take your time. So what we're gonna do just for everyone else is, so you guys know, we went through the process of taking Namecheap and pointing it over at GitHub. There is this other service out there called Cloudflare, and it's like DNS on steroids. It gives you all kinds of options and lets you get SSL certificates, which GitHub does for you. But Cloudflare kind of sits as a middleman between your registrar and your web hosting. And so what we're going to do with Karen is Karen bought a domain last night. And so we're going to go through the process of setting up Namecheap to go point over at Cloudflare. And Cloudflare is completely optional, and you guys don't need to do this for a homework assignment, or this is purely informational if you want to get practice with DNS.
And Max, you said it's called Cloudflare?
Yes, CLOUDFLARE.
Thank you.
So we are going to go to manage on either one of those domains.
Okay. Just let me get this other. I got so much stuff open here.
It's funny because the Zoom windows don't show up on the screen share. So it looks like you're a crazy person like trying to get things to close out
I
that
know.
we can't even see.
Okay, so we'll start with, and I can't. Okay, I gotta minimize you guys because I can't see.
And we are going to scroll down to name servers and change your name server to custom.
This one, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
custom DNS. And we're going to hop over to Cloudflare and add a site.
Oh, I need to fix this one too, please.
Okay. Go ahead and type in the domain name.
I have to make sure I'm spelling it right.
And add site. And then copy, scroll down and click free. Continue. We want to set up forwarding on this, Karen.
I'm not doing anything with it right now.
Okay, so we'll just leave all of that as is and just hit continue. And then copy that Robin NS Cloudflare. Yep. And hop back over to Namecheap and paste that in as name server 1. And then rinse and repeat with the other one. And then hit the green check mark over on the right. And then go back up to Henry Thorne at Cloudflare. And scroll down and hit done check name servers. And then that's it. So you can hit finish later down at the bottom. And then go back to the Cloudflare icon in the top left. And go ahead and hit add site and do that for your KarenThorne.com as well. Scroll down free.
So what exactly can Cloudflare do if you have a DNS through a different provider?
So Cloudflare is that different DNS provider. Basically, what you're doing is you're telling Namecheap, instead of using their DNS settings, I would like to use Cloudflare instead.
Oh, that's what you were just going through here.
Yes.
I wasn't watching as closely because I thought it was just her account.
Yeah, so Cloudflare does a lot of nice things for you, one of which is it provides you an SSL certificate, which means you get HTTPS built in. So we happen not to use them because GitHub now supports HTTPS built into GitHub pages. But if you ever get your own web hosting, you can get some speed benefits and security benefits by using Cloudflare.
Oh. Do you want us to do that or
no? This is entirely optional. And because it is a extra step, I didn't cover it in class. With that said, I use Cloudflare on all of my websites.
Okay,
so it's a good thing to know about, but not something that you necessarily would get any benefits out of doing now.
Yeah, anyway, but it's there and we have the video. So okay. Yep. Thank you.
So
How do I
This,
get rid of-
you need to go to.
I need to go to
GreenGeeks.
GreenGeeks for this one, but I can't hide this stupid screen sharing whatever bar.
There's a keyboard shortcut for that.
Hold on, it says move to bottom. I moved it to the bottom. I'm good.
Okay.
So let me just,
What is the screen, the shortcut?
I don't know it off the top of my head.
Oh,
I'd have
okay.
to be sharing my screen to find it.
Okay,
this never wants to do what I want it to. I always have to go look this one up because Dashlane never wants to do it. Stupid.
With some sites, it doesn't work if you click in the email field, but it will if you click in the password field. Okay, so we are going to go to domains over on the left and then manage on the right. And then domain name servers up at the top. And then go ahead and delete out those two values. And then click add a field in the bottom left and then paste in whatever GreenGeek Cloudflare is telling you. And save changes. And then the only extra step that we're going to do here, if you go back to Cloudflare, you should be able to check name servers. Okay, and now if you scroll up, I want to go to the DNS tab. And I want to make sure, yeah, everything
Yeah, I had a question about that. What is this?
Oh, that's just telling you that one of the benefits that Cloudflare does is it hides your IP address for you. And it's basically saying you can't hide your IP address if you're pointing it at your domain.
Okay.
So it's nothing to worry about.
And do I need these?
You probably had them set up for some email hosting or to get HTTPS working or something like that. So I would leave all of those.
Okay.
The Acme challenges, you can probably get rid of. The domain key and the TXT records are making sure your email is encrypted and getting through spam filters.
Okay. But I can
so-
get rid of this one?
Yeah, that should be fine to get rid of. And same for the other Acme challenge. And then at this point, if you go to your KarenThorne.com, it should have the, I'm sorry, in Cloudflare.
Oh, sorry. For this one?
No, if you switch the domain up at the top to your KarenThorne.com, top left. Oh, so Henry went through, but this one hasn't yet. So if you scroll up, oh, and now that one has gone through. So it's just the KE Thorne one that needs to go through.
Okay.
So you should be all set there.
Yeah, so now I have them all on there, which is what I wanted.
Cool.
And then eventually I'll put that. Okay, now I can bring you guys back and I can stop sharing because thanks. Yeah, all I have left now is I can take myself up. My mom was in here, so she's like, I don't want to be on camera. Okay. All I have left now then is, and I'll put it, I put it in my calendar, 90 days. I want to move them from the one over to the other.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah. But thank you for helping me with that.
No problem. Other questions?
I just had a quick follow-up question. What does that mean in 90 days? Where are you moving them to?
So she is moving them from Namecheap over to Cloudflare. Cloudflare is their own registrar, but they are very unique in that they don't let you buy domains there. You can only transfer your domains over there.
Okay.
Cloudflare is on my short list of 3 registrars that I would recommend. Namecheap, Google Domains, and Cloudflare are my top 3. I have a much longer list of hosting services that I don't hate. But for domain registrars, that's my top 3 list. But there's nothing wrong with leaving them at Namecheap.
Okay. And when you do that, does that, I mean, is it like paying twice the amount for your site?
Not really. You do have to pay for a transfer, but it adds a year. It doesn't reset your year.
Oh, okay.
So you would pay another, $13 or whatever to transfer it to Cloudflare. But then instead of it expiring, April of 2021, it would expire April of 2022.
Yeah, because I just renewed the KE Thorn one through GreenGeeks. I just left it with them.
Yep.
Because that's where I do, that's the 2 are hosted through there. So.
Yeah, and so the reason Karen is using GreenGeeks is that GitHub Pages doesn't support WordPress, because WordPress is not a static website, right? It's not just HTML and CSS. It uses PHP and MySQL under the hood, which is a database and a server-side programming language. So GitHub Pages will only work with what is called a static site, or a non-dynamic site, in that you can only upload HTML and CSS code, and that's pretty much the only thing that they will process. They don't have any server-side support. And so what you can do is you can get hosting at GreenGeeks or Namecheap themselves, or there are a bunch of web hosts out there that will allow you to set up a WordPress site as well. And so later in the course, you're going to go through probably Amazon Web Services and how you can set up a web server over there and get your backend code running and all of that kind of stuff. So we won't be covering web hosting specifically, but we will cover setting up a server and all of that fun stuff.
Yeah, because I did GreenGeeks when I was in the cohort.
Yep.
So I've had that a long time. I've had it a long time.
Yeah, they're who I recommend for web hosting. If you are setting up an app, they're probably not the best web host. But if you just are hosting a website or need WordPress or setting up an e-commerce site or anything like that, I really like GreenGeeks.
And their introductory price was like ridiculous. And I think when I did it, because it was so ridiculously cheap, I actually added, I'm like, oh, well, if that's only for, it was like a year or something. I'm like, well, I'm going to add a few more on. And that's what I did. And I got, I don't know, 3 or 4 years for a really low price when I did it.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about them is that you have to call them in 3 years and go, my bill went through the roof. And they go, oh, well, we've got another offer for you. It's like, oh, come on, just give me that price. But I'm sure 90% of their customers just get the bill and pay it. And, that's why they are able to jack it up. All right, well, I'm going to drop out of here if you guys don't have any more questions.
I wish whoever's left, those of us, nice weekend. And if you celebrate Easter, a wonderful Easter or spring, and good travels, Max.
Thank you.
Come back safely and ready to roll.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Thank
See you guys.
Bye-bye.